Good afternoon. It's great to be with you all today. This is Jack Martin with Adhesion Wealth Advisor Solutions. And thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today for our next edition of Building Exceptional RIAs. Today we're going to be talking about RIA burnout. And we have Bob Berries on the line, and he's going to be sharing some insights from some new research. I notice that we've got a lot of new folks who are joining today for the first time, and thank you very much for popping in. This series of webinars we do started last year to address concerns that we heard back from you investment advisors and wealth managers. At Adhesion, we're 100% focused on you. We don't do business with insurance agents or registered reps or those kinds of folks. We're 100% focused on wealth managers and investment advisors. And in this series of webinars, we pulled together some of the industry's great thought leaders to help us address practice management concerns that you folks have. So welcome, and thank you very much for joining us. Just FYI, this is not going to be a product presentation. You're going to hear 50 minutes of Bob Berries talking about stress and RIA burnout. But if you'll hang on, when we get to the end, we're bringing back Ty McDaniel, who's our Managing Director of Sales, to talk a little bit about what's new at Adhesion. And there were over 400 advisors like you on our call last month, and they really appreciated what Ty had to offer. So just a couple of quick housekeeping things. If you are interested in the recording, we are recording this today. You will be getting a follow-up email from us. That will come out to you probably tomorrow morning. That follow-up email will have a link to the recording. It will also give you a link to Bob's white paper on this subject. You'll be able to download that. He's making that available to you. There's also going to be a link to a stress survey, and we'll talk more about that in a second. If you're experiencing audio issues and you've dialed in on your computer, we would encourage you to hang up and dial in on a telephone. You'll find the phone numbers in your GoToMeeting toolbar if you click on the audio button. And we will be fielding questions today, and we really encourage you to ask questions. So on your GoToMeeting toolbar on the right, you can type those questions in, and we'll get to all of those that we can with Bob in the time that we have available to us today. Like I said, I see there are a number of new folks who are joining us today, and if you don't know Adhesion, that you should know just a couple of quick things real quickly. The first is that we are what we describe ourselves as a TAMP, a hybrid TAMP. And by that, what we mean is that our clients get the leverage of a highly structured turnkey solution, but they have all the options, customization, and flexibility that an open architecture UMA platform can offer. Essentially, at the end of the day, you define your investment value proposition, and we deliver it. The second thing that you probably need to know about us is that while we are a UMA platform, we really have a proprietary integration of human capital and technology that helps us deliver your alpha. So we're not just a black box technology, but we've got a team of overlay portfolio managers. These are people who've got your back when it comes to trading and delivering your alpha. So finally, we are 100% about you. We were built from the bottom up, from scratch, just for this purpose. We are 100% focused on the IRA space. We're not morphing from some other market to try and fit here. We're not out bolting on pieces to try and address your needs. We've been built from scratch just for you. So, all right, well, let's dive into today's subject, our RIA benefit. We at Adhesion have had a sensitivity to a lot of the business stressors you face since we started. That's part of the benefit of being an outsourced solution like we offer. Last fall, we really elevated the conversation about advisor stress at the Schwab National Conference. And this spring, we launched our inaugural advisor stress survey. And like I said, you'll have the opportunity to participate in that when you get the follow-up email. So it really was a no-brainer for us when Bob Berries shared the fact that he was working on a new white paper and some new compelling research about RIA stress, RIA burnout, and the crisis that presents. So having said all that, welcome, Bob. I know you just recently released your white paper to your subscribers on what you called the most stressful day of the year for advisors. That sounds a little bold. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing on the subject of RIA burnout.
Okay. Actually, I'm kind of feeling like I might be too burned out to give this presentation now. I'm just kind of feeling sluggish and lethargic. I'm teasing. I released the white paper at a time when advisors were coping with the first quarterly reports and dealing with the deadline of April 15th, and which is the worst case scenario time for an advisory practice. Everything after that is downhill, which is why all the conferences happen after April 15th. And it's tough, and this year was especially tough for a variety of reasons. One, we don't know what the markets are going to do, and they're doing strange things again. And the other is this is a complicated tax season. But the bigger picture issue, I go to 10 conferences a year, probably more than that actually. And periodically people would say, I used to be really energized about what I was doing in the profession, and now I'm feeling like the work never seems to end, and I'm wearing down and wondering if it's worth it anymore. And these are really downer conversations. And so I decided to just ask my audience, what are you experiencing? What are you feeling this burnout thing? I'm talking to people who are feeling it. Is there something to this? And I was expecting to get a few responses back and people saying, yeah, I am too, and this probably should be something you look into. But I actually had to hide under my desk. There were so many responses that came in. A total of 200 and something responses, and most of them were just, I'm feeling burnout, and I'm glad I'm not the only one. There were a lot of those, and glad might not be the right word, but they were feeling like at least they weren't alone. But more than 100 of the responses offered specific remedies. They talked about stuff that you can do that will get you out of burnout. And most of those were people who were formerly suffering the malady. So I thought I'd start off with the top 15 reasons you might be expecting burnout or experiencing burnout. And I'll just throw these out there so you can kind of self-assess. Number one, when a prospect calls and you discover they're considering becoming a client, and you silently hope they'll decide against it. It's sort of like anti-marketing attitude, if you will. Number two, you fantasize about what it would be like to be retired. Number three, you wonder if you'll ever recover the joy you used to feel when you first got into the business and realized that you were going to make it in the profession. Number four, you're hoping that someday you'll be able to take weekends off from work. Number five, your daily to-do list never, ever gets finished. Number six, you're spending more time at the office but less time with clients than you did 5 years ago. Number seven, whenever you go on vacation, you check emails twice a day or more, and you call the office at least once a day. That's for those of you who can afford to take a vacation. Number eight, you feel impatient when clients call to ask questions or give you updates on their lives, which is one of the most important things you can be doing. Number nine, you have a closer personal relationship with your software than you do with your spouse. Number 10, if Congress changes the tax laws one more time and makes you learn another set of tax issues for your clients, you feel like you might be forced to strangle an elected representative. Number 11, you feel like your job has more to do with human resources than financial planning. And we'll talk about that. That's back office creep. Number 12, you feel like the work you do has become formulaic rather than creative, and you feel stuck in a rut. Number 13, you would like to delegate all this busy work on your desk, but who has the time to teach somebody how to do it? Number 14, when people visit your offices, there is more office space and more staffing in the back office than the front office team that actually provides service to your clients. And number 15, and last one, your daily routine makes you feel tired rather than energized. In fact, you start to feel tired before you even get into the office. And these are all comments of one sort or another that I was hearing kind of ex cathedra from a number of advisors at various times. And it tells me a couple things. One, it tells me there's a lot more going on than anybody's writing about. And number two, that there are probably several flavors to burnout. Some advisors reported that they felt like slaves to their business. Others, they're working 50 to 60-hour work weeks, and they've been doing that for years, and they don't see an end to it. And others just said the business is no longer fun. They don't have time to do the things they enjoy in the business. Their time is taken up by everything else. And just about everybody who sent in responses to my survey said that there were growing levels of stress and anxiety in their business. And you can fall prey to a sense of feeling overwhelmed. And that gets into the difference between pain and suffering. Pain is something you experience. Pain is something that, it's happening right now and I feel it. Suffering is when you start projecting that pain out in the future and assume it's going to continue. And I think a lot of people are suffering right now because they're assuming that what they're going through right now is just going to continue. And so the point of writing, go ahead. Okay, the point of writing the white paper, which is, as Jack said, available on the Adhesion website, is to alleviate that pain and take positive steps to get through it, so that you're not feeling it constantly in the future, that there's a way past it, if you will. And, you can understand there's taking on responsibility for the financial futures of a client base, staying on top of all the things that they're doing in their lives, keeping up with the tax laws. The investment markets are a source of stress, and you take on yourselves the stress that they're feeling so they don't have to. So, and then you've got the growing weight of managing your back office, and I think this is where Adhesion got interested in what I was doing, because there's a lot of talk about back office creep. What once took 10, 20% of your mind share now suddenly is taking 40%, 50%, and a lot of that is HR function, the employees, the staffing. What happens when you have turnover in the back office, when people know things and now they're gone, and you have to hire and retrain, and it's all a distraction from what got you in the business in the first place. And then on top of that, you have to stay on top of the changes in software and software capabilities, and it's all evolving so rapidly. How can you stay on top of it? And one advisor talked about he was the finger in the dike. And whenever somebody leaves, whenever something new has to be done, whenever a one-off thing happens, when there's an overload, he steps in and makes sure whatever it is gets done, and pretty soon the business is growing and there's a lot more holes in the dike. And you find yourself doing an awful lot of one-off things, and you don't have time to do the parts of the business that are fun anymore. So now that I've bummed everybody out, and you're probably all reaching for the Prozac, I'll start with some of the solutions that people recommended, which I thought were really good. I mean, I think there's some really good stuff in here, and most of it I would never have thought of. It's just, so we'll start simple. We'll start with the easy stuff, and one of them is change your mindset. A surprising number of advisors said that they started practicing meditation, yoga, mindfulness, and this is kind of the key to it, consciously cultivating a sense of gratitude about your life and your business situation. And this kind of addresses right there the difference between pain and suffering. Because I think the truth is, in most cases, you probably have a great life. 90% of things are going really well, but your attention tends to be focused almost totally on that 10% that's not going well. And so you get in the office and you're thinking about all the things that you don't want to do or you're not feeling good about doing, and not about the fact that you're in one of the best, most rewarding financially and from a job personal satisfaction standpoint there is and ever will be. So some fairly specific ways to address that, and you can meditate daily, but here's one. This person, he was feeling a sort of burnout and was beginning to question the value of his work. Is what I'm doing valuable? Does it mean anything? And so at a client appreciation dinner one time, he kind of blurted out to his clients, "Why do you stay with me? And he said that the answer, the process was really energizing. Everybody said, you know, you can be trusted, you're a straight shooter, you're honest, you have high ethical standards, you have changed my life, you've helped me overcome these obstacles. And his comment was, you know, adding that question to client meetings or group events will give you a lot of positive feedback that might be missing in your personal self-assessment. The chances are that, you know, you see the work as a daily grind, but it has a lot of meaning in the lives of your clients. And when they let you realize that, then it gives you a certain energy. It gives you a certain gratitude. It gives you a certain, hey, this is why I got in the business in the first place. And here's an interesting bonus. You know, when people give an answer to that question in a group setting, it reinforces everybody's good decision to work with you in the first place. And so there's kind of there's even a marketing benefit to it, particularly if there are people who were prospects in that same meeting. So that's the first possible solution, first thing to consider anyway, and I think that's where you would start. Another solution that was offered by a number of advisors is force yourself to take time for yourself. Force yourself to take time to do exercise, take vacations, and take time with your family, your spouse, and put that on your calendar. And the way it was described, and I really hadn't thought of it this way before, but the way it was described is that we're programmed to think we have to work long hours in order to be successful, in order to be relevant. You know, you're important if you have to work long hours. Hard work equals importance. Success can only be achieved by hard work. And yet, if you look around you, you realize the most successful advisors practice delegation, outsourcing. They work smart. They get things off their plate that's not part of their core competency. The world has mostly examples of the fact that this hard work equals importance equals success is not really true. What is true is that you want to make a difference in your clients' lives. People who can consistently do that, and that doesn't mean just you. That means you can delegate things. So how do you do that? You know, I mean, it's easier said than done, right? You know, I come in the office and I've got all this stuff. How am I going to make time for myself? The best way to do this is to sit down with your calendar and prearrange the days you won't be working. That was the message I got. Create vacations, create rest days, create long weekends, and put them on your calendar a year in advance. Make a commitment to stick with this schedule. Make a commitment to only work 40 hours a week. And if you find yourself working longer, then, as we'll talk about in a minute, you have to identify things you're doing that can be delegated.
Bob?
And, yeah, go ahead.
So someone just put in an interesting comment. I want to read it to you. I thought they're listening. Okay. Clients mostly want to be our partners and do care about our well-being. Capitalize on that by making sure you're letting them know you need time for yourself, your family, for mental and physical recovery. They will understand and respect that giving you time to live a life outside of the practice. I thought that was pretty true.
That sounds exactly like some of the things I heard. The clients will buy into it. Clients, you know, yeah, of course, you know. I think that's true. Thank you for whoever made that comment. You should have made that comment but I did hear that from others when I was doing the white paper. And so what you need to do is set appropriate boundaries, and people will respect that. One of the specific things, there's an advisor, and I really love this. He takes off every Wednesday. So he doesn't work on Wednesdays. There are a few people who don't work on Fridays, but taking off every Wednesday means that Tuesday and Friday both become Fridays for him. It divides the week, and it gives you a chance to recharge, and you're not, you know, working a bunch of days in a row, if you will. So I thought that was one of the more interesting boundary issues. And you tell your client, this is what we're doing.
I'm sorry. I have to address one stressor that several people are having. Bob doesn't use slides. So what you see on the screen is a placeholder that's going to appear there throughout the presentation. So sit back, relax, and take in what Bob's saying. There's no PowerPoint presentation that's going to go with this. So some folks were stressing about that, Bob.
Okay. What you don't want is a picture of me up there. Okay. Another way to address these issues, and all of this really is in the white paper, so the slides are unnecessary. You just go to the white paper and it's all in there. Another way to address the stress is to change your routine. Add the novelty that your brain craves, either by making changes in your environment or taking on new projects or revamping your business. And one of the, I thought, most interesting comments here, specific comments, was that an advisor was working with too many rote clients, as he put it. Too many clients who the answer to their solution, their situation was kind of obvious, and he was kind of sleepwalking through those, and he had an awful lot of those, and he wasn't being challenged. And so he hired a team of advisors who work with the rote clients, if you will, on different levels. And when the burnout bug was warming up, he simply moved himself to offloading less complicated clients, and he only works for the most interesting cases now, and that re-energized him. So, there's something about your routine. You don't want to be in a rut. You want to move out of that, because doing the same thing over and over and not engaging the creative part of your brain is going to be an issue for you. Changing your environment, we talk about you can revamp your office. You can move out of your office and work from home. You can take the time to work remotely from a vacation environment. These days you can work from anywhere. And one advisor said, they built a beautiful new office, and there was beautiful space for client meetings. And the whole emphasis was, sunlight and ergonomics and staff comfort and client interaction, and it just made it made the whole office more focused and energized. So, that may be a solution. That's a procedural solution to a problem. All right, here's a bigger one. And now we're getting into some of the more complicated solutions that were recommended. Be more intentional about the clients you take on. You can eliminate stressful client relationships, or you can create a niche clientele, which are two issues. And some people think this is a lifestyle choice, but one advisor said this is actually a really great business decision. And you've got the same 5 or 10 clients who are creating 90% of the stress in your life. So you ask yourself, what if you don't have those 5 clients? How much better would you serve the other clients? How would this increase your attitude, and even your referrals? The service you provide everybody else. How many more clients would you be able to service if you got rid of a small number of troublemakers? And in his case, the answer was exponential. They eliminated 3 or 4 prospects. They eliminated 2 clients who were difficult. And it was just amazingly liberating. And then, whether it was karma or whatever, he got more referrals the next week out of the blue than he's ever had in his entire career. When the phone rings, I love, there was a comment once from one of the advisors. He said, I got a call from a client saying that she was going to leave me. And he said, I thought it was a real odd coincidence, because just that morning I was thinking, I wish that this client would just move on and not work with me anymore. And then he realized it wasn't such a great coincidence. He felt that way every morning. And so, it's that one side of it is getting really difficult clients. The other side is when you're trying to be all things to all people, when you have an eclectic practice, when you're opening a door to people who all have different challenges. You get small business executive and stock option planning, and or business executive with stock option planning, and the small business owner, and the qualified plan design, and the cash flow challenges, and then the widow and her challenges, and you've got too much and too many kinds of situations to keep track of. And so one of the advisors sent in a really, I thought, great comment. Trying to be an expert on such a huge diversity of topic areas is really not possible. If you're trying to do that, it's going to be just absolutely exhausting. And so the cure, and you've heard this, but you probably haven't heard it from this angle. If you focus on a target market niche of clients, if you focus on clients who have a particular set of challenges and planning needs, then each time you sit down with someone, you understand the kinds of challenges they're going through, and you understand the solutions, and the process becomes a lot better, a lot cleaner, a lot more more efficient, if you will. So, having a niche market, people say, you can get more clients that way. You can, but from a business operational standpoint, and certainly from a stress standpoint, it becomes a lot easier to work with a particularly if it's an area where it's a group of people that you resonate with. When you're working all day long with people you resonate with, it can be energizing rather than depressing. So now you're not going to be surprised that the advisors who created the bigger firms, or who have created, multi-partner firms and multi-advisor firms, said, I suffered burnout, and then I brought in people who took over aspects of my business life I didn't enjoy. So this is delegation, finding a way to delegate the things that you don't want to do. And that may be as simple as hiring an assistant who will stay on top of all the technical and procedural details that can seem like labor, when you really thrive on working with face-to-face clients. Another issue, another suggestion, or a simple suggestion, is, and I ask this when I do presentations at conferences. I'm talking to a room full of baby boomers who have beat up on one too many pieces of software, and so they see all this new software going on, and they say to themselves, I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I don't even look at it. What we've got is fine. It might be the CPM operating system, but at least it's working fine, And they're resistant to taking advantage of the really strikingly powerful new capabilities that are out there. And I ask them, why are you the one who's making these, who's doing this research? Surely you have a younger person, some hipster in your office who really enjoys the software stuff, who really is up on it, who, understands what social media is. And don't be the one to be doing that when you can delegate it to somebody else who will at least do the research and come back and say, here's 3 programs I think we should consider, and here's the one that I think is the best, or here's a delegation solution that takes all of it off your plate. We don't have to. We'll get to that in a minute. So it's possible that you're the bottleneck, and at the same time you're feeling a bit like a martyr because you're the one who has to do these things. You don't have to do these things. You can. So one of the other things that I think is really powerful is everybody who's listening to this has a to-do list, right? Raise your hand if you don't have a to-do list, okay? Don't see any hands up. So then instead of creating a to-do list, or side by side, you create a to-don't-do list. Nobody has a to-don't-do list. And as you're working during the day, during the week, you do something, and you find it painful. You find it stressful. You find it annoying. You find that it's distracting you from what you really want to do. That goes down on the to-don't-do list. And, you might have 3 or 4 things on there. It might not be, a huge list, but it's kind of like that 3 or 4 clients. If you can get rid of those 3 or 4 tasks, it can make a huge difference. So you make that list, and you invite your key staff people to make their own to-don't-do list. And pretty soon you got this checklist of things that really you don't have anybody on staff who should be doing these things. They're holding people back from what they do really well. And so your next hire becomes somebody who will take over that list, that to-don't-do list. And everybody works much more efficiently, and things that can be pushed down the pay scale get pushed down appropriately. One advisor I know, another solution here, hired a personal assistant who goes to the dry cleaners for her, who does her grocery shopping, who picks up the kids from school, handles office chores when they're needed, who does whatever needs doing. And this is probably not politically correct, but she says it's kind of like hiring a wife, you know, a traditional wife, a 1950s wife, somebody who would just handle whatever needed to be done so that she could focus on the things that she wants to do and enjoys. And another thing that I heard over and over from advisors, and this is kind of a cautionary note, advisors with larger firms, one of the things they said was you want to enjoy your staff. You want to delegate, but you want to delegate to people that you really enjoy being around. If you don't enjoy your staff, you're in a very stressful environment. If you don't enjoy them, they don't enjoy you, then you come to work and it's just not the way it should be, if you will. So when I know a lot of advisors, you know, they're thinking, well, I hire somebody, and then I got to supervise that person, I got to deal with that person. Well, if you enjoy dealing with that person, then it takes stress off. If you don't, then it adds stress. And so just make a conscious decision that when you bring somebody on, that's somebody you enjoy. If you don't enjoy them, that's, you know, that's a sign that it's probably not a good fit. And so you make it a criteria. You want people you enjoy being around, who enjoy their work, who have a good attitude, a good work ethic, and pretty much everything else can be trained. We're all capable of learning pretty much everything else that happens in an advisory office, but those things really can't be trained. Those are innate characteristics, if you will. All right, now another solution, and you know, I put this under the complicated solution, but it really can be a fairly simple solution, is to outsource your workload. You focus on the things you enjoy and add client value, and you outsource the other things. And well, there's a growing trend in the profession, and we're actually going to have a session on this at our conference in Dallas in September, on creating the pure front office advisory firm. In other words, the office has people who work with clients and solve client issues, period. And everything else is delegated. Everything else is outsourced. And one advice, you know, they've got $2.7 million in revenue, $450 million in AUM, a highly planning-oriented, highly service-oriented client experience with a staff of 3 people. And front office only, what does that mean? Now, understand, staff of 3 people. It's an extremely profitable business. And what he said was that vendors are so much easier to manage than employees are. Vendors don't call in sick. Vendors don't need to be educated, motivated, or disciplined. You don't have to pay for their rising health care costs or their profit-sharing plan contributions, their employment taxes, the office space, computers and continuing education. There's no HR issues whatsoever. And if you have an outsourced provider who focuses 100% of its energy on a particular group of tasks, that's way more efficient than having employees who will spend their time over those activities and master none of them. And so, you know, I actually did an interview with this person, and he said, I have a really strong message for a lot of the advisors out there. He says, clients really don't care who's doing the stuff they don't see. Outsourcing is not cheating. So, you know, it's an easy way just to eliminate a whole bunch of mind share that probably is weighing down on you. All right, 2 more. One is learn the joys of mentorship. And that's for advisors primarily who are still running the office in a larger firm. You're still running everything, and you're running around in circles, and it's becoming more and more complicated, and you've got, you know, a lot of moving parts, and you've got next generation people coming up who are eventually going to take over the firm, possibly when you die with your boots on, possibly when you decide to retire, and this retirement you're fantasizing about. But the advisors who are running these firms say that it can be a lot more fun and a lot more fulfilling to mentor the next generation and let them run things, and you be the person who shows them how to do it. You transition from being a doer to a mentor. It's more satisfying to be a mentor and facilitator than it is to be the doer. And you discover when you allow people to take on responsibility and roles that they're perfectly capable of handling them. And finally, and this may be the most radical solution of all of them, scaling back. And that implies a trade-off of lower revenues for greater free time and job satisfaction. That means you lower your expectations and you get more in the other side of it. And I really enjoyed this one response, and it's really the last response in the white paper. The advisory said, "I've accepted less and gotten more out of life. I work 9 to 4 daily. I leave early every Friday. I go for a 9-mile mountain hike on that Friday. I attend every event my kids experienced, even if they're during work days. My wife and I do at least one major trip a year and take mini vacations several more times a year." And this goes back to the comment that one of you made who was listening to this. My clients know this is my life and have come to respect the balance in my life and its obligations, just so long as their needs are being met. And that's really, I think you have to walk the talk. You want your clients to live a great life, but if they see you stressed out, burned out, working 60-hour weeks, hanging on, not having the energy to, that's not, you can't be an example to them of the life you want them to lead if you're allowing these stressors in your life. And his other comment was, "I accepted that I would never make the big bucks that other advisors did or do. I had to understand myself and my needs before I could understand the needs of my clients. I had to resist and shed the competitive mindset that accompanies being in the financial world." And I think that was really, really a great comment. It was something that I think a lot of advisors could be doing. We hear about people with lifestyle practices, but a lot of times they're working 60-hour weeks in what they think is a lifestyle practice. And that's not. That's just overwork. So those are the solutions. That's what people came back to me with. There's a lot more in the paper. Let me see how many pages the paper runs here as I get down to the bottom. 22 pages. It's 22 pages, and it's just thick with solutions and ideas. Some will resonate with you and some won't. So, Jack, do we have any questions? Do we have any issues? Do we have any comments?
I was just going to throw it open to folks. If you've got any more questions, feel free to type those in the box. You're getting a lot of compliments, Bob. The to don't do list is a great idea. Someone came in late and asked about the white paper, and there will be a follow-up email that you'll get probably tomorrow morning that will have a link to the recording for today's session, as well as a link to Bob's white paper. Any more questions?
And I guess the other comment, I'm looking at the end of the white paper, one more comment as you collect these comments and questions. An advisor I've known for years says, if you're feeling burnout, don't suffer alone. Reach out. Reach out to your colleagues, reach out to your friends. Ask them if you're feeling overloaded, burned out, and depressed. If it's not exciting anymore, find someone to help you get out of that rut. There are coaches out there who can help you work on things like that. The point is to take affirmative action. And that's really, I should have started this out by saying that I hope everybody here will implement something of what I've said, that if you're feeling burnout, the key to it is to take affirmative action against it. You can get through this. And there are a lot of possibilities, and some of them are perfect for you, some of them have nothing to do with you. But if you take action, you don't have to suffer. Burnout is just a temporary pain until you get through it, until you get to the other side. There's no reason to suffer this in silence. No reason to endure it for the long term.
Great advice, Bob. Great job. So thank you, folks. If you'll hang on just a second, I want to bring Ty McDaniel on. He's our Managing Director and Head of Sales at Adhesion. And one of the next to the last points Bob made was about back office creep and about outsourced solutions. There's a lot we have to say to help you with that. Ty, are you on the line?
Yeah, I am, Jack. Thank you very much. And Bob, thanks for your work, too. I appreciate hearing the message. And I mean, frankly, at the end of the day, we see Adhesion Wealth as in the stress release business. We here at Adhesion see our mission and our value is providing those fee-only wealth managers the ability to get out of the weeds and to focus on those clients while simplifying the delivery of complex investment solutions. So we believe that by focusing on your relationships with your clients and focusing on the design of your investment solutions, you're adding a lot of value to your clients over and above just the investment returns that you've designed. We call that added value advisor alpha. And by outsourcing the implementation and the back office that's associated with those investment solutions, you're going to relieve stress at the end of the day. And that's what we're here to do and help you do. So who is Adhesion and what do we do? Jack referred to this at the beginning of the talk. In common vernacular, we're a TAMP. But we are a hybrid TAMP, which means that you can leverage a structured turnkey solution, but we allow you to have high levels of customization and flexibility of an open architecture UMA platform. So you define your investment value proposition, and it's our job to deliver it for you. So additionally, we handle all the middle and back office responsibilities that go along with the business of wealth management. So the intent here is to eliminate your mental overhead and the stress that your back office puts on you and allows you to put the focus back on your clients. So we have an integrated proposal and enrollment workflow. We provide portfolio accounting services, so that middle office and back office, and we provide an integrated and highly customized client reporting solution, which is a way that you have to communicate your value to your end clients. So Adhesion's UMA platform, which is the way that we deliver your investment solution, it's a lot more than a black box rebalancing program that sits on your ops person's computer. Our team of overlay portfolio managers have your back, and we're working with the latest technology and proprietary technology that's necessary to implement this. We provide, in addition to that technology, the human factor, though, that gives you the most flexible and customizable investment management solutions that are available out there. So this powerful combination of that human capital and the technology enables you to provide your clients with high value, unmatched services, and things such as advanced cash management and tax-sensitive management. We do this all through proprietary technology that allows us to have true sleeve representation, which preserves the investment integrity of your investment decisions. So you know exactly what you're paying for and what you're getting in performance, since tax lot holdings don't bleed between managers, and accurate composite returns can be generated across all managed accounts. So our solution is the first step of which is you or a third party design that appropriate asset allocation that achieves your client's investment objectives and risk tolerances. You then select the most appropriate managers to manage each asset class. So you're in full control over that manager selection. And that includes any proprietary asset class models that you may have yourself. So anything that you do in-house, we can pull onto the platform and make available to your clients. And then our personnel, our overlay portfolio management team, keeps each individual asset class in balance and then manages all those asset classes relative to each other. So all of this is managed within tolerances that you design and you specify, and we rebalance based upon specifications that you design, those bands that you design, and not on some arbitrary calendar date. So the overlay portfolio manager, in addition to doing this rebalancing and kind of implementing those portfolios, also oversees all the cash management, provides tax management services, and also customizes the accounts on a client-by-client basis. So in fact, creating the sleeve managed UMA platform, it's challenging operationally, and it's expensive to do, and it requires processes, highly refined processes and workflows, as well as kind of specialized staff and state-of-the-art accounting techniques. But at the end of the day, it's worth it if minimizing taxes for your client and being able to actually truly track the performance of each one of your managers is important to you and to your end clients. So beyond delivering our investment solutions, Adhesion also developed proprietary technology that allows you to gain more control over your business as well as your client data. We pull data from your custodian, from the markets, from news sources, and index providers, and give you the control over it. So our technology constantly scours your client information looking for anything that's out of the ordinary. And these exceptions represent either issues or opportunities. So we proactively present them to you so that you can be proactive with your clients. That's another way that you add value, by being ahead of any kind of issues and recognizing opportunities within your book of business and exploiting them for the benefit of your clients. So additionally, we've developed integrated reporting capabilities. So we don't review the reporting function as just a regulator's requirement. We view reporting as a communication tool that demonstrates the value that you're bringing to your clients. So we think it's important that it's branded and fully reflects what you do for your clients, or reflects the way you interact with your clients. So we provide you with the ability to customize this communication, to tell your firm's story the way you want it to be told, in either a simple format or more detailed. It can be graphic or just numbers. You can also add customized sections which kind of provide a narrative about your practice, or perhaps a capital markets overview, or both. So that said, with $13 billion in assets under administration, Adhesion Wealth at the end of the day is a lot of things to a lot of folks, but those folks that we do work with have focus in one area, and that's fee-based kind of advisory work, whether they're wealth advisors, investment managers, or kind of advisors in transition. We put our focus, always has been and always will be, on these fee-based advisors, and our services are designed with that type of advisory delivery in mind. So one way that we kind of represent that is through our model exchange, which provides you with access to a wide range of separately managed accounts, ETF strategists, and all of the funds and ETFs that are available through your custodian. So you can build your solution yourself using any of the components that we have, or by bringing on managers or proprietary portfolios that you may have developed. Or you can have access to our open architecture turnkey strategists, using some of the best in the business, who will do manager selection, vehicle selection, and ultimate asset allocation for you, and provide you with kind of marketing and capital market support. So as Bob pointed out, and given where we are on the calendar, I don't have to remind you, one of the great time drags that we've all experienced, and a big stress cause in all of our lives, is managing a client's after-tax returns. One way that we propose you can add both value to your clients and diminish your stress is by allowing Adhesion to help you with that tax management. And this is just one example of kind of the added value that we're bringing to the investment management delivery process. Our overlay portfolio management team can free you from your year-end scramble to offset losses by implementing a designed, thought-through, and rigorous tax management plan that can strategically defer realized gains, continually harvest those losses, and manage for the wash sales. So this eliminates a lot of the stressors in your life as it relates to tax management by putting a plan in place, rules around that plan, and having a partner who can implement that for you. So not only is it eliminating stress, but it can add value to the actual returns of your clients. So we also have developed a reporting tool that will allow you to understand and quantify the added value, so that you have it represented for both you and for your clients. So this goes along with the tax management services that we provide. So at the end of the day, you don't have to believe me that about the value that we add and we can bring to your client relationships and practices. You can take a second and just read what some of your peers have said about kind of the services that we provide and how it has helped them with their practices in particular. But beyond just reading, we'd love the opportunity to talk to you more about what you do, how you do it, and have a conversation and see if there's a way that we can help you do that. So please feel free to reach out to me. My name's Ty McDaniel. I'm at TyMcDaniel@AdhesionWealth.com, or call me directly and we can discuss it further. So with that, I appreciate your time, and I'll turn it back to Jack.
This is Bob Veras again, if I could inject a comment, if I could.
Go ahead.
Please.
Yeah, I first got interested in Adhesion because a number of advisors that I talked to who'd done a lot of research into the back office options were fairly consistently selecting Adhesion over some of the other options. And I thought that was interesting. But, you know, you gave this overview, but I would have done a lot simpler one. You know, it's possible to create client portfolios and have full control over what they look like, and not have to do the downloading, the reconciliation, to get fairly automated to your tolerances, rebalancing and tax loss harvesting and research and monitoring of the portfolio without you having to devote 40% of your firm to making those things happen, and without you having to be constantly in front of the computer keeping an eye on everything. And that's probably the way I would have said what you said in much more detail. And to be able to do that, I think is going to be for some advisors, certainly, it's going to be a huge, it'll give them a lot more time to spend with clients, I'll say it that way. That's the way I would have said it.
Thank you, Bob.
Perfect. Thank you, Bob. I have a territory for you if we need to talk later.
All right. We'll talk offline.
Yeah. All right. Great. Great job, guys. Excellent. I just want to give one quick note. The follow-up email also is going to give you a link to register for a tax-aware management webinar we're doing. You'll get that. It's in a couple of weeks. It's May 14th at 3 o'clock Central Time. And we'll go into more detail about some of the subjects Ty was talking about. You guys have been a great audience. We appreciate you joining us this afternoon. Tune in next month for Building Exceptional RIAs. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Ty.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, all.